Well, 'tis the season, y'all. No, not that one. Soup season. And here are the ingredients for today's seafood vegetable soup. Okay, we're going to start with our carrots. Cut them into 3-inch sections and then cut that into a half. And you want to cut the half into 1/4 and the 1/4 and then 1/8. And once that's done, you're going to dice them. And when cutting your carrots, make sure you put the flat side down on the surface because they will roll on you and potentially cause you to cut your fingers. And we don't want that. Okay, let's do our potatoes now. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut them in half, cut the half in quarters, and then into eighths. And once we have those cut into the eighth size pieces, and we're ready to dice these. And we're going to dice until we have 2 cups. Okay, now let's do our celery. Now this is going to have an extra step to it. What we want to do here is take the blade of the knife and gently slide it under the string layer that's on top of the celery stalk. Now you don't have to do this, but it does take away from the eating experience when you have to deal with taking the string out of your mouth. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of string that's on these celery stalks. Okay, now we're ready to cut. Same thing again. 3-inch sections, cut in half, quarters, except this time no eighths. And then we dice. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and do the most tedious part of the recipe, which is taking the meat from the crab legs. Now, I did go ahead and have these done at the store so that I could eliminate the step of cooking at home. I chose my seasonings, had them steam them for me, and I was good to go. Okay, now we got that done. Let's get our fresh herbs together. I have fresh sage, rosemary, and thyme. Now I have my 5-quart Dutch oven in which I added some olive oil on medium-high heat, and we're going to start adding our vegetables to saute and get nice and seasoned. So we've added our potato, carrots, and kale. And on top of that, we add our fresh herbs and a tablespoon of salt. Now, we want to get these nice and sauteed well, so make sure that they're coated. Stir around for a couple of minutes. And the aroma is simply amazing. Smells so good. Now we're going to add in our celery. We added that in last because the potatoes and carrots and kale takes longer to cook. And we don't want our celery to be mush. Mix for about another minute or so. And we're ready to add in 1/4 cup of the tomato paste. Mix in really well. And I like to add some of the tomato paste in during the sauteing part to help seal in the extra flavor. We've got this nice and mixed in together. So now it's time to add in 4.5 quarts of water. Okay, we're getting there, y'all. So mix this together real good, making sure that we got the flavors hitting them every corner. So we stir everything just a little bit more. Okay, perfect. Now cover to bring to a boil. Once it reaches a boil, reduce your heat down to medium and remove all of your fresh herbs. Okay, I think we got it all, but do one final check to make sure. And now we're going to add in 1/4 of the heavy whipping cream and stir until completely mixed. For all of my foodies, make sure you let me know in the comments how you like this. Your family liked it. Okay, we got it nice and mixed. So let's add in the remaining quarter cup of heavy cream. I really think your friends and family will be impressed when you fix them this. Make sure you let me know in the comments now. Okay, we got this blended together well. Let's turn the heat down to a low simmer. And now let's do our lobster tails. To remove the meat from the lobster tails, take a pair of kitchen shears, take the point of the shears, slide it directly under the shell, avoiding the meat. Cut down the back of the shell until you reach the tip of the tail. Do not cut all the way through. Now, lobsters are another tedious task in trying to get to their meat. So it requires a little patience so you don't tear the meat apart. Once you have the slits cut down the back, you'll need to work your fingers on top of, under, and on the sides of the meat to pry it loose. Like I said, it takes a little patience, but it's so worth it. Oh, and definitely be careful because these shells are sharp. Okay, he's being a little stubborn, but we got it. And don't be intimidated if you've never done a lobster tail before. And it's okay if you tear the meat a little bit. Practice makes perfect. Now we got our pan ready on medium-high heat with a little olive oil. We got our lobster tails in. We're going to sear these until they get a light char on them. Add a little salt. Now, one thing that the lobsters are going to do, they're going to curl. So what you want to do is press down the curled parts with your tongs gently. You don't have to mash, just gently touch them down to make sure they're on the heat. Making sure that we've gotten all the areas touching the heat and that it's nice and seared. Okay, and these are ready, y'all. Let's go ahead and get them up out of the pan. Drizzle olive oil on medium-high heat and bring on the shrimp. Got the Miss Edna Mae shrimp seasoning that will be available for order soon. But for now, you can use whatever you would normally use on your shrimp. But Miss Edna Mae's seasoning coming real soon. Once it's nice and coated, we want to saute. Now, one thing you want to be sure of when cooking shrimp is not to have multiple layers. Make sure your shrimp is single layered on the pan so they're all touching the pan. I've seen that so many times where people just load the pan and they come out with uncooked shrimp. So take your time, spread it out, and you flip over one by one. Shrimp cooks about 2 minutes per side. And when you do that, your shrimp will come out perfectly seared. Now it's time to do our last little bit of chopping. We're going to start with the rough chop of the shrimp. We're going to chop our shrimp into nice little bite-sized pieces. Next, we're going to do our lobster tails, which we're going to cut each tail in half and then dice. Told y'all, this recipe definitely has a lot of chopping and dicing. But the great part about that is we're at the end. So let's chop our snow crab legs. Okay, y'all, that was the final chop. So now we're going to go back to our soup that's been simmering. And we're going to add in the last quarter cup of the tomato paste and blend until completely dissolved. Now I did a little taste test and I wanted to add a little more salt. So make sure that you do a taste test and see what your preference is. Mix in together. Now let's add in the seafood. Now notice how I'm holding the seafood close to the soup because you do not want this to splash and burn you or make a huge mess. Okay, we got all of our seafood in now. Mix everything together real good. Okay, we got everything mixed together real good. Turn the heat off. And let's fix some nice garlic butter Italian toast. And of course, whatever bread you choose is fine. I did some homemade garlic butter to butter the Italian bread with. I melted some butter and added garlic powder. Now I want to make sure that I coat each piece completely because I want every bite to be soft and buttery. Once nice and coated, we're going to put it in the oven, 400 degrees until toasted. Sprinkle with parsley. And now the time we've all been waiting for. Oh yeah, soup season. So I'm going to do a nice little bowl here and get my toast. And I'm about to sit back and chill with this hot deliciousness.